So I recently purchased the Sony A6400, and it's a very awesome camera, so much smaller than my D500, which I actually have right next to it. And back when I bought the D500, they said that it was the low light beast for APS-C sensors, cameras, and I just wanted to test them out right now to see if this camera is still as good as this much newer A6400. I turned off noise reduction for both cameras, so you'll see whatever noise that they bring with them. Okay, so right now I am at 1/60th shutter speed, 3.5 aperture, and at ISO 100 on both. And they are on standard picture profiles. The Nikon's on standard picture profile. The Sony has picture profiles off. So let's go ahead and start turning these ISOs up to see what happens. Alright, so there's 400 on the Nikon. And there's 400 on the Sony A6400. They're both focused on that guitar head up on the top. I guess we're also seeing sort of a dynamic range as well, seeing how they react to focusing and so on. The lens that's on the Nikon is the Sigma 17-50, and on the A6400 is the kit lens 16-50, but I tried to match their shots as much as I could. So let's go up a little more. 800 on the Nikon, 800 ISO on the Sony. Now looking on the screens, it sort of looks like the Nikon has a much more contrasty looking shot. I'm determining that by the fan and its blacks. They're both on auto white balance as well. So let's go ahead to the next step. 1600 ISO on the Nikon. And now 1600 ISO on the Sony. And it's actually a lot easier to change the ISO on the Nikon because just the button's in a much better place for this kind of situation where they're next to each other. The ISO button on the A6400 is on that round pad, and it's the right button, and it's just sort of hard to get to right now. Whereas on the Nikon, I can do it all easily with my right hand on the top of the camera. ISO button is right there in the middle, and shutter speed. And the shutter speed is where you switch the ISO once you're pressing it. So let's turn off this light right here so I can keep going higher. Okay. 3200 ISO on the Nikon. 3200 ISO on the Sony. $5,000 ISO on the Nikon, 5,000 ISO on the Sony. Now the Sony can go up to 30-something thousand, 32,000 I think. The Nikon can go up to a crazy amount, which we're not going to go up to because there's no reason to. It sucks up there. It's not usable. Let's go up again. 8,000 on the Nikon. 8,000 on the Sony, and it sort of looks like the Sony is clipping more, but it's really hard to tell. So I'm gonna change the position of the cameras now so we can just keep going up because it's a little bit darker on the other side of the room. Okay, that'll do. So let's keep going up. Right now we're at 8,000 for both. 16,000 on the Nikon. 16,000 on the Sony. I gotta refocus both of them too. Let's see if I can do that. Okay, that one's focused on the second light. But with the Sony, I have to get out of the ISO menu, and then I can tap the track on that middle light. Alright, so shall we go a little higher, I guess? Let's do it. We're at 16,000 on both right now. 25,600 Nikon. 25,600 on the Sony. This is very, very high right now. Man, the suspense. It's real. So I just covered that light a little bit, make it a little bit darker, or else both of them will just be blown out splotches. And that's not as good for the test. So I'm going to go up to the max of 32,000 of the native setting on the Sony, and I'm at 32,000 on the Nikon. Now I don't think there's any reason to go any further on both, but hopefully YouTube reproduces them well, and you can see right here who's the winner. I'm going to go check it out as well. And thanks for watching.